modifiers in Java. Access modifiers can be private, default, protected or public. That means suppose that you are given the private int a, that means a is an integer value which is private. Default means if no qualifier access modifier is given, then that means it is default. Protected is there and public is there. If you want to have public, then private should be given. Protected or public, then respective access modifier has to be given. If nothing is given, it is treated as default. Then a private variable can be accessible only within that class. Suppose that a class is defined and inside that, suppose that you have a private variable, then the scope of that variable, that means that is accessible from within that class only. That means within that package. If for example in a simple package you can have a number of classes, and any other class cannot access a private member. That means within that class only the private members, the accessibility of that private member is limited to that class only. If you are giving default, that means nothing is given inside that class, it is okay. Then within that package, that means suppose that within the package you have a number of classes, then the all the other classes, from that classes you can access this default member, default variable. Okay, if an access modifier is default, that means nothing is given. For example int a, that means in that case no access modifier is there, that is called default. That can be accessed from within that class as well as outside the class within that package. If we have a package, say my pack, then all the classes which belong to this package, which are within this package, can access that default variable, and nobody no classes or package outside this package are not permissible to access a default variable. Now what is protected? Protected means within that class it is accessible, within that package it is accessible, but outside the package it is accessible with some restrictions. That means if you are creating a subclass, that means you have a class and you are going to create a subclass of this class in some other package. For example, suppose that you have a package p1, and in that package p1 you have defined a class, say a, and in that you have variable, say x. That means in class a you have a variable x which is protected. Then you are suppose that it belongs to package p1, and suppose that some other package p2 is there, and in that package p2 if you are deriving a subclass of, suppose that you are going to create a subclass b which is a subclass of a. That means you are going to create a subclass b which is a subclass of a which belongs to the package, say p1, then that can also be accessible. That means this private variable, this protected variable x which is in package p1 can be accessible from some other package p2, provided it is a subclass of this current class. And okay, and that is outside package by subclass only. No other class outside this package is not accessible. That means they cannot access this protected variable. Public means that can be accessed from anywhere. That means the most restricted one is private, and the most that means public, that means no restriction. That means most restricted one is private, and for public there is no restriction. So to access specifiers, here in package p1 we have 4 files: demo.java, derived.java, protection.java, and same package.java. Protection.java in the sense, here we have a package p1, and here we have 4 different variables. Initially we are having Indian means it is not having any access specifier, that means it is default. Then second one is private, third one is protected, and fourth one is public. Those are default is n is equal to 1, and private variable is npri, that means private. Second one is npro means it is protected, and npub means it is public. That means the values are 1, 2, 3, and 4. So whenever this class is initiated, then automatically this protection, that means this constructor will be executed and the value of all this will be printed. Okay, that is all about protection. And now derived.java means in the same package you have a derived this is a derived class from protection, that means it is derived, and in that derived class whether we are going to have this all these variables available, that means system.out.println is equal to plus n means we are going to print, or we are trying to print the default value n. And now as this is commented by this private value is not available here, that means in the derived class of that protection, in the protection class we have a variable npri which is private variable that is not accessible from this derived class. That is why I have commented this. And third one is protected variable, and finally the last one is public variable. Again, when you are creating an object of this derived, what will happen? It will execute the base constructor of the base class, and after that the constructor of this derived class. Now we are having another package, the same package. This is in the same this is derived class of protection, and same package means some other package. That means there is no connection between this protection class and this same package class. Here you are going to have an going to have a base class, same package, and in that same package you are going to have a protection variable. That means protection ps new protection means here you are going to create an object of type protection in this. So in protection you have a variable, private variable, public variable, protected variable, as well as default variable. And now from this package we are trying to access those variables, but here in this case also we are not allowed to. That means you have created a new object which is protection, and from this package we are trying to access that variable. That means same package constructor, initially we are going to print p.n, that means the default variable of the protection object. Here this is commented by that is not accessible from outside the class, that is not permitted. That means even if it is inside the package, you are not allowed to access the variable directly. So protected and public variables are accessible from the package. So here protection is the base class, and derived is the derived class of that protection, and same package means this is a separate class which is residing in the same package. Now we are going to execute the demo. Already I have, so I am going to show you this once again. That means java p1 dot demo. That means when it is demonstrated, well, that is here demo.java. I will explain. This is demo.java. That means inside the package p1 we have a demo class, and here initially you are going to have a protection object. When this object is created, then what will happen? Protection ob1 is the new protection means an object of ob1 of protection type that will be created, and definitely that constructor of the protection class is executed. Here constructor of protection class means it will display base constructor and the 4 variables will be displayed. Okay, now see in this initially here base constructor and 4 variables are there. 4 variables are printed. And after that, what will happen? In demo.java, after creating a protection object, now we are going to create derived object ob2 is equal to new derived. Then what will happen? Derived has a constructor and the parent constructor is protection. That means derived class is a subclass of protection, and in that case initially the parent construct is executed. After that, the derived so the constructor of the subclass is executed. So again, here we have a protection class. This is the parent, or this is the base class of this derived class, and again this will be executed. That means the constructor of this will be executed, and after that, for this derived class, this will execute. Okay, so I'll show you that. That means this is base constructor, this one, after that derived constructor. So in the derived class, it is not permissible to access the private variable of the base class. Okay, now in the demo.java, we have same package. That means it is residing in the same package as some other class. Now if you are trying to generate this, if you are trying to create an object of this, then automatically this will be created, and I will show you this. So again, see, when this demo class is initiated or when it is executed, same package ob3, that means ob3 object of same package is created, and when it is created, the constructor for that is executed. Then what is the constructor of this same package? That means this is the constructor, and as the first statement, you are going to have another protection piece. New protection means you are going to create a new object of type protection, which is p. So the constructor for that will be executed, and that is given here. Base constructor is equal to this and this. Okay, after that, this thing will be executed. After that, this will be executed. Here in this case also, we are not allowed to access the private variable of that protection class. So at this point in time, you should note that a private variable is not accessible from subclass as well as other classes which are residing in the same package. In package p2, we have 3 Java programs. It is demo.java, other packages.java, and protection2.java. So protection2.java, this is a subclass of protection. Protection2 is a subclass of protection. That means we are in package p2, you are importing p1.protection means import p1 protection means if from package p1 you are going to import that protection class from p1, and now class protection2 is extends protection means now you are going to create a subclass of that, and we are trying to check whether those variables are available here. Here these two are commented because the in the derived class you are not allowed to access the default and private variables, but protected and public variables are available here. So that's why these are not commented. That means if you are calling a variable from outside that package, if it is a subclass, then you are not allowed to access the default as well as private variables. So now other package.java, in the sense this is residing in package p2 and it is not a subclass of protection. Import p1 protection means here this is a package, other package, and in that you are going to create a protection variable which is p1.protection, p is equal to new protection. Then we are trying to access those variables of protection. but we are not allowed to access, or we are not allowed to use these variables p dot n, p dot n pri, and p dot n pro means default public, default private and protected variables are not allowed outside the package, and if it is not a subclass of the base class. Here the base class is, you are trying to access the variables of protection class which is residing in the package p1, so you can access only the public variables. Okay, so using this demo we are trying to execute that. We are trying to access trying to execute this from, so for that here I am trying to execute p2.demo, p2 dot, okay, that means base constructor is this one, that is executed. See, when we are executing this demo, what will happen? Protection 2 object is created, new protection 2. When protection 2 object is created, what will happen? Protection 2 is executed, which is a subclass of protection, and when this is derived from protection, the construct of the protection class is executed. So that's why we have base constructor. That means in p1 dot protection, the constructor of p1 dot protection is executed. That's why we have n is equal to 1, npri is equal to 2, npr is equal to 3, and npublic is equal to 4. But here in this class we are not allowed to access the default and private variables, so it is printing only npr on npub, npro and npub. Derived other package constructor means here we have system.out.println derived other package constructor. That's why it's executed. Okay, now other package.java means here again p1.protection, p is equal to new protection. What will happen? Again that base constructor is executed, base constructor of p1.protection is executed, and after that you are not permitted to access default private as well as protected variables of that class. Okay, so you are not you are allowed to access only the public variables. That's why we have this npub is equal to 4. So these are all about access specifiers and packages. So with that I am concluding the session.